Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our weekly FX analysis. Wasn't able to put this out earlier today, guys. I've been to the dentist this morning. My mouth's still a little bit numb, so hopefully we'll be able to get through this without too many stumbles. What a week last week in the stock markets, guys, and the crypto markets. Everything was down. Horrible to watch happening. You you need not to panic, and don't dwell on it. Things will come right again, guys. We'll have to see how far this drawdown is going to happen. We'll get a better idea on Wednesday when we have Fed interest rate day, guys, of how the market's going to react to that. Obviously, if the Fed are a little bit less dovish than is priced in, then perhaps we'll see that being the point where you buy the dip. And if they're a little bit more hawkish and a little bit more concerned about the market, then, obviously we could have more downside, guys. But we'll look at the charts in a moment. It's not unexpected. The timing off, it's the thing. This time last year, I was saying we're going to get a correction. And I prepared for it during the year by buying gold stocks, by buying silver ETFs, by buying some cyclicals like mining stocks, Rio Tinto and BP and things like that, guys. Value stocks, as it would be called. And then nothing happened. And I sat and I sat and I sat on them. And then the last few months, November, December, January, I got fed up waiting and I started buying in. Because if any of you remember, last year I was running with 50% cash, guys. But at the moment, I've got about 2% cash because I bought in. Now, I didn't buy in at the top. I waited for things to come off. And on the way down, particularly with some of the tech stocks, some of the things I'd fancied way back when they were far too expensive, I bought into those. But I'm getting hammered with them, guys. The account's down something like 8%. At the end of the day, it could be down another couple of percent. Good news is that, well, if you want to, you got to compare yourself with other people. The good news is if you go and you look at some of the so-called top investors, many of them are down more than I am, guys. So, at least it's not something that I'm doing wrong that the rest of the crowd are getting right. It's not. The whole market's gone down. All ships are going down. What do you do, guys? Depends on your personal situation. You shouldn't be investing money you can't afford to invest. So if that's the situation, don't worry. They will come back up again. And if you have any more money, once we get through this madness and they start coming back up, buy in and bring down your dollar price average of the stocks that you've already bought, guys. In other words, buy the dip. I'm not saying buy the dip today, because there could be more downside. Okay. Let's have a quick run through this week's economic calendar, guys. Yesterday we had market composite PMI flush from Australia. Nobody's really interested in that, are we? To be honest, there's one thing we're interested in. Why is this not working? Oh, for goodness sake. Right, this isn't responding for some reason, guys. Sorry about this. Okay, here we go. So today we market PMI manufacturing in the United States. Be interested to see how that comes out. And then tomorrow, let's just do 7 days, guys. Tomorrow we've got inflation, Australia, business climate, Germany, and consumer confidence in the United States. This is the biggie, guys. Bank of Canada interest rate decision, Fed interest rate decision, Fed press conference, inflation rate in New Zealand. This 7 o'clock for us, probably early morning or midday, I imagine, for Eastern Seaboard, United States. This is going to be where we'll see what direction the stocks are going to go, guys. And then later in the week, we've got durable goods orders, GDP growth rate, and growth rate in Germany, core PCE price index, in other words, inflation, guys, in the United States at the end of the week, and then Michigan consumer sentiment final. So it's going to be an interesting week. We're not here to talk about stocks, but obviously, it's kind of like the elephant in the room at the minute, guys. We need to talk about it because if the stock markets are dropping, obviously you could potentially get some upside to safe havens, the yen and the Swiss franc. I'm not saying that's happening, but let's have a look and see. Okay, this is the Japanese yen here, folks, and what we were in here on the higher time scale was a running flat and then a drop out. Now I'm looking for it to come down into this sort of area here. Guys, we don't do specifically it's going to come to that value because that's nonsense. Anyone that tells you that they know exactly where it's going to, it's just nonsense. And if you follow that advice and trading that way over weeks, months, and years, you'll lose your money. You've got to get a big general picture of where things are, of where you'd be interested in buying or selling. And then when it gets into that area, then you can start to think a lot more about what's happening, guys. So what's happening here? Well, we've had this looks like another potential little running flat. And therefore, I wouldn't be surprised if we got, that completion of that, with this being a one or an A, call it that, this being a B, a running flat B, and then the last wave down being a C, and then you could maybe start to look to trade up from there. Now, what happens if I'm wrong? Well, it only matters if you're trading it in the wrong direction, guys. So what we're doing at the minute, we're looking at it and we're saying, well, there's a possibility for that. That might be interesting. The only reason that wouldn't happen would be if the markets are going into a safety mode, which we potentially are, and therefore this maybe is the bottom of the yen and it starts to recover. So what we'll be looking for is evidence this week for what direction that goes in. Now, potentially, there could be more upside here. If the market doesn't like what the Fed has to say on Wednesday, guys, there could be upside. The problem is that the market might like what the Fed says, and then the yen will drop. So we can't turn around today and say, well, that's definitely what's going to happen. What we've got to do is make a plan and say, well, if that happens, this is what we'll do. Or if that happens, then this is what we'll do. And what we'll do could be nothing. It could be we'll buy, we'll sell, but it could also be nothing. Okay, so we're looking for evidence. We're looking for opportunities. The opportunity here could come now, or it could come after one more down, guys. But I do think at some point, within this year, we're going to be trading the yen long. Whether it starts now or whether it starts in a few months' time down here, I don't know yet, but potentially could be long. So let's, bear that in mind, and then we'll go and we'll look at whatever else is happening. Okay, let's get out. That's on the daily time scale, by the way, guys. Let's get down to the 4-hour and look at the dollar. Now, anyone that's been with me for a while or listening for a while, and there's not many of you, I know, but that's the weird way that the internet works. You have to wait to be discovered, guys. No matter how good or bad you are, you got to wait to be discovered. But any of you have been listening along, guys, we've been calling from a way back over here, dollar long. We drew this. We said it would go long and eventually it would go short. Okay. But we copied this from a few years ago, and I said, listen, chances are it's going to do something like this. And there you have it. That's exactly what it's done. Not exactly, but you understand what I mean. Of all the structures that you could have copied, there's what it's done, guys. I said it would gradually pull back and pull back. It's not going impulsively. It's not, a nice flat correction, then it's going to drop. It's pulling back. Now, at some point when this is over, when Europe gets its act together, this will drop, guys. But I still think there's more upside to it yet. And that last leg, if we get it, will be determined by what the Fed does over the next, Wednesday, the following month, guys. Because there is the possibility that money starts to flow out of the United States because shares are heavily overpriced. We all known that. And then they might start flowing. They've already started doing this, by the way, guys. But in a way that would affect the dollar, money might start flowing into Europe, into the UK, into other markets, and into Japan, because their stocks compared to the American stocks are a lot cheaper, guys. The only thing that would maybe slow that down would be if the bond rate or the bond yield were to go up in the United States. So for now, and for the last, while, when we got to here, what did I say? I said this will correct. Either it will do something like that before it goes, and that's where you've got to think about buying. Now, that's easy to say on a 4-hour chart, guys. The problem is that it takes, where's our measure? From that point, and I probably even said it from there, from that point to here was 50 days, guys. That's how patient you need to be with trading, which is, whether it's stocks, you need to be even more patient than that. But with currencies, that's the sort of time frame you need to be thinking in. Now, sorry, I've lost my train of thought there, guys. When we were in here, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, I listened to another so-called internet expert, someone who has infinitely more listeners than I have, thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners. He said last week, I hadn't listened to him for 2 or 3 years. I just wanted to see what he was saying and whether I still agreed with him or not. He said last week that was the bottom of this, and this was going to go long. And it was actually in the euro that he said it. It was here. He said that was the top. That's broken the top. I didn't say that's possibly the top. It could be. He said that's the top. Maybe that's why he's got lots of viewers, because he's definitive. Now, you can't be definitive. There's nothing in life you can be definitive about other than maybe your age and your height and your weight. But other than that, everything else is a grey area, guys. Now, that's probably an exaggeration, but I hope you get what I mean. There's very few things in life that are, black or white. Most things are a shade of grey, guys. So he said that was the top and was telling everybody to trade this down. I was trading it down, not because he had said so, but because I was looking for it to drop as well. But when it started coming back up again, I allowed it to stop me out for a zero, and I left it. And then we got this. And when we got to there, I said, right, this is going that way. Now, it is very, very difficult, particularly in, let's say, a 1-hour time scale, or if you're trading less than that, then it's a nightmare, guys, when you watch these things. When something's doing that, guys, and then starts to go again, it takes nerves of steel to trade against it. But that's why you've got to understand what's going on. That's why and that was a great opportunity. And I traded this. I got bored when I got stuck in here, and I ended up taking profit here somewhere, guys. And I traded the Aussie as well. I think I said to you last week I had 2 trades on. One was euro dollar short, and the other one was Aussie US short. So anyway, now they've started to break out again. So this is going short, folks. Where was the best place to get in? Well, obviously up there. There's a little running flat, and then it dropped. We've got some possibly a running flat there happening as well, but don't be surprised if it comes back up again and then goes. What will make that drop? What the Fed says on Friday or Wednesday, guys. That's what this is waiting for. Let's see what the Fed says. If the Fed becomes hawkish, this will drop like a stone. And obviously the opposite will be DXY will go long, which I also said way back. Right through here, I said this is a flat, it needs to break that bottom down here somewhere. Now, it didn't have to come down as impulsively as that, guys, but, You're looking for an impulsive breakout. I think what I had drawn was something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to get a fifth wave. So it's a bit of a diagonal, and that's what I was looking for. Bang, down it's come, started to recover. Look where it is now, guys. It's going to continue to push up. Could well come to there and could well go beyond. Now, that's what we've been calling for a long, long time, guys. These are the things that I get right. Now, I'm not usually very, what's the word? I don't often blow my own trumpet, but I am getting these things right, guys. But you need patience. Okay. Now, the whole way up here, what did I say? This will eventually break and go short. From here, I said, and then we got that, and it looked like, oh, I'm wrong. That could look like that, but I didn't say that. I said, just leave it alone, guys. But there you go. That's going to drop. Is that the place to get involved? No, it isn't. You wait for a setup. You wait for a pullback. If you're already in it, fantastic. Put your stop to 0 and then see what happens on Wednesday. But I don't know what's going to happen Wednesday, by the way, guys. Well, I know that the Fed are going to say that they're going to increase interest rates, and they're going to continue to taper, and at some point they're going to start to tighten. It's what language they use. It's the time scale of that which will determine how fast these things go. Now, Aussie, yet again, I got stopped out in this one, guys. Didn't even get any money out of this one. I left it on, and it flashed up there, stopped me out. I almost bought it again, but I've been caught out by that so many times in the past. I just said, okay, it stopped you out. Leave it, move on. But when it stopped me out, I almost, you get the little signal on the phone to say your position's been stopped out. And I thought, just go back in and buy it. I didn't, but there you are. That would have been a nice trade back down. Remember, well, this is 1 hour. I was going to say, remember, that's 4 hours. It would have been an even better trade. There's more downside to this, guys. There's your target there. Obviously, that's not the place to jump into it. Either there or here where I got involved as it dropped down there. I was just stopped out with it. Could be on Wednesday that the Fed's a little bit less hawkish, or a little bit, they come out at the level that the market was expecting. Then you could see maybe this pulling back, guys, but don't be fooled by it. There's the direction it's going in for the foreseeable future, until the likes of the euro start to cut back on their accommodation and they start to increase their interest rates. And it doesn't look like they're doing that anytime soon, guys. Yet again, New Zealand said it. There's the arrow, guys. This is going short. That would have been a good place to get involved. And this is why I'm doing this a week at a time, guys. Now, that one has well, it's done what we... Oh, sorry. I thought I got that one wrong, guys, but look at all the arrows. No, I called that long last week, guys. There you go. That's the start of it going long. Look for a setup and then try and trade it up. Will it get to there? Guys, I don't know. Nobody knows. But what you do is you give yourself a chance. So if it pulls back, gives you a little setup, starts to break out again, off you go. You really would need to have been in it already from here, and then put your stop to 0, see how it runs, and then make that your target. And if you get that far up, guys, don't be greedy. Take your money and then move on to something else. US Swiss, a little bit less sure about these guys. Reason being that because of what's happened with the stock market, you're going to get money moving into the Swiss. You're going to get money moving into gold. Well, what we have found out, particularly over the weekend, is that cryptocurrencies are not gold. Cryptocurrencies are not a safe haven, guys, because they've fallen more than the markets have fallen. They're a whim. They're something that shoots up and shoots down. There's no fundamental analysis can be made of them, and they're certainly not a safe haven, guys. So, I've got involved in them, and I'm getting hammered. I've suddenly $10,000 in them, guys. So it's not the end of the world. No, it's maybe not 10,000. 5 or 6 thousand. It's not as much as 10,000. 5 or 6 thousand in them, guys. And I'm getting hammered, and it's not good for the statistics. But I'm pretty sure they will come back up again. But the thing that's been proven is that they're not gold. And the big question that's been asked for the last couple of years is Bitcoin digital gold? Well, no, it's not, guys. Certainly not yet. There's what gold's been doing. There's what Bitcoin's been doing. Gold's going up, Bitcoin's dropping like a stone, guys. Look at that. Look at this. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll get into those in a minute. Just back to the Swiss. So the reason that this isn't suddenly shooting up is because the Swiss is getting it's getting a little go. So it's probably going to stay down here and run flat, guys. If everything goes the other way, if the Fed aren't, particularly hawkish, and if the markets start to buy the dip, then you'll see this go. But only if you see the markets buy the dip. Swedish always leads the way, doesn't it? Always leads the way. Unfortunately, I didn't trade it, guys, but look at it. Beautiful and impulsive the whole way. No big, deep drawbacks. Impulsive the whole way up. Said last week was going to go. I don't know, maybe that's where it was last week. And I said, listen, you're looking for something there, a little setup there, and then off you go. Look at it. It's away. And it will break the top. Look where all the arrows are. That's what I was saying. It's broke the top. It's gone. Is it too late to get into it? Well, it is today. You got to wait and see what happens next, guys. But there was the setup. We said it would happen the whole way through here. We were looking for it to break the bottom. It broke the bottom, and now it's away. See how it works, guys. See how it works. You don't know all the time, but every now and again you do know. You have to be patient and you wait for it. US yen, yet again, when everything else is going like that, what's happened? The yen has continued to strengthen, guys. And I did say in there last week, let me just clear a little bit of this up. I said last week, I took it all off, but I'll draw it again, guys. Just want to clean this up a bit. So it had come up impulsively last week and it was pulling back. And what I said was, listen, guys, you could go from here because if you don't, you might miss it. But I'd be more interested down there. That's why the circle, when I draw the circle, I'm saying that's the zone that I'm getting interested in. Guys, I could sit and draw these all neatly, but I'd be here for hours. So, it's quick. That is the zone to get interested in. Does that mean I'm going to buy that there? No, it doesn't. It means that if it gets into that position, if it gets down to there, I'll start paying a bit more attention to it. And I'm certainly not going to buy there. But what I also said was, well, if you buy there and you miss it, then when it starts coming up here, you add to your position. So anybody that bought in there and it's dropped, well, you have two choices now. Either you buy back in and you let it, and you have your buy-in level, or you put a stop loss there. Listen, put the stop loss there anyway, guys, in case it drops further. If it drops further, then you're out of it and you've lost a bit of money. Don't worry about it. But if it starts to come back up, maybe you can add to it. I would prefer not to be in it because there's other things that are better, as we've just seen, guys. Because the yen's getting a boost off the stock market's dropping. It's a safe haven. Okay. So what am I going to do with this? Nothing. If this starts to come up, and if the stock market starts to come up, now the stock markets are doing that. If they start to recover, this will break out of there. And then I might be interested. But for now, no, I'm leaving it alone. Gold. Now, I'm die glad to see that, guys. I've been stuck in gold for a long time. Easy 6 months I've been stuck in gold. From there. Now, I bought gold here. Didn't buy gold, bought gold mine shares, guys, and I bought ETF and a few bits and pieces, and silver. But when it got up to here, I sold out. And then I did that daft thing that we all do and we shouldn't do. But, we're all human, and no matter how many times we make a mistake, well, you still make the mistake. Not as often as you used to, but you will make it again. Is that you 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 sell your position, you close your position, and then you get a pull back and you go, do you know what? That's getting ready to go again. And you buy back in. And then you get that and you go, oh, I'll buy a bit more because it's going to go. And then you end up with this 6 months of running flat with, you've bought in there. And then when it came here, you were close and you're going, well, I've been in at this length of time. I'm not going to take a loss now because in a few weeks' time, it could be up there and I could have made a nice profit. So I'm going to hang on. And then it does this. Right. You've got to be patient, guys. One of the things that was going through my mind recently was because of all the blather out there about Bitcoin being the new gold and it's a safe haven and it's blah, 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 I was starting to doubt gold. Now, for any of you who don't know, I'm from a gold mining background. I spent my 20s and 30s working in South African gold mines, made my way up to become mine manager. So I have an understanding about gold and gold mines and stuff like that, guys. But after years and years of understanding gold, this last year or so, even my mind's been thrown. Gold isn't what it used to be. The market's nonsense, guys. This is going to go up if the markets drop. It might not react the way it may have done in the past, but it is going to. It's certainly shown more strength than Bitcoin is. Okay. Where's it going to go to? I'm not going to be buying it, guys, by the way. I've got a certain amount in gold mining shares, which I'm hoping to get a profit out of. Just the way I don't buy oil, but I would buy oil mining or oil companies. So I'm looking for gold to go up so that the ETFs can go up and the gold mining companies can go up. But if this pushes on up, you'll find the gold mining companies will go long while all the tech stocks are dropping like a stone, guys. So that's the only reason that I'm looking at this. Do you jump in here and buy gold? No. Well, ask somebody else. I'm not buying gold, so I'm not going to advise you to buy gold. Silver. Now, I want to just explain what's going on here, guys. What I was looking for here was the same thing that I was looking for on, was it DXY? And we talked about it. Let's get down to the 1 hour time scale here, guys. Which chart do we look at? Just was it the euro? No, DXY. Okay. In DXY, when I was looking at this, and guys, I'm not an ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I look at structures in general. And for me, that was potentially an A. That back up for a double top was a B. And that's why I was looking for it to break that bottom for a C. But it became complex and we were getting all of this. So what I said a few weeks ago, and I think I said about 10 minutes ago, when it started to take form and when we were over here and everyone was calling that long from there, I kept thinking, this hasn't finished. So it's potentially a 1, 2. And then you've got this for a 3, back up for a 4. And you can maybe even do that with a truncated. And then you're looking for an impulsive move down for your 5. In other words, this is a diagonal for a C wave. So you have an A, a B, and a C, and off you go. Okay. Now, if you don't know Elliott, and if you're studying Elliott and you're still at that point where you're counting A, B, C's and D's and E's and butterflies and all, then that might not make sense to you guys. But believe me, when you've been doing it as long as I have, you get to the point where you're just looking for the structure. And you're not worried about whether something looks exactly like an A or a B. You're looking at the extremes of the overall structure. And if someone said to you, let's look at this and say a daily time scale. If someone said to you, what's that? knowing a little bit about Elliott, without counting, you would say it's an ABC flat correction. There's your top. There's your other side of it. That's your C wave breaking out before it goes. But when you get into the 1 hour time scale, then everybody wants to start trying to work out, work that out using Elliott, guys. It's really, really tough. So you don't do it. You look at the overall structure and you go, well, it's running flat. We know fundamentally the dollar should be continuing to go long. And therefore, we wait for the flat to finish. And then either there, you bat long, or when you get the drop, you bat long. So what happens if you bat long there and it's wrong? Well, you've got your stop to zero, so you can't lose. So what happens if you buy it there and that was the one that went? Well, then you're going to have to think long and hard about it as it's coming down. Do you stay in it, or do you wait for it to turn and start coming up and get back into it again? But that's all about your trading strategy, guys. But you will have and should have a strategy for when you get things wrong. Maybe you buy it there to go long and put your stop loss there. It's probably what you should do. Okay. Right. Sorry. This is why I'm doing this once a week, because there's so much to talk about, guys. Right. Back to what I was going to say about silver. Just a recount. Same thing, guys, only on a higher time scale, because it's taken a year, whereas with the DXY there, we were looking at a month or so. Right. Yet again, impulse up, flat correction. You're looking to break the bottom. So yet again, I looked at this and I said, well, that's potentially an A and a B, double top. So whatever's happening here should be the C wave. So at this point, when this is coming down, you're looking for this to break. Simple flat correction, off you go. Didn't happen, guys. Didn't get down there. So then you got to wait for some more information. You say, well, what's going on here? You still got in mind that you're looking at a flat correction, but at what point do you get brave enough to buy it? So it's come down, off it goes again. Okay, 1, 2. Don't worry that it's not a lovely zigzag, whatever. Just looking at the overall structure. A, B, first wave of a C, second wave of a C, third wave of a C, fourth wave of a C. You can see I've got it drawn in there, guys. And now, here, I said, guys, this has come down. It's kind of broken the bottom, but not enough for me, for my liking. And plus, if you look at a count of 1, 2, 3, and this is a zigzag 4, you're now looking for a fifth wave to complete this 5-wave structure for a C. Down it comes, and then I was looking for more. See where I put my 5 and a circle, and from there I'd be interested in buying silver. Now I already have silver, by the way, but at that point I'm looking maybe to add to the position, or if it wasn't in it, that's where I would be keen. So it comes down and then it comes off it, and now it's doing that. What now? Is this going to do that? Don't think so. Not with the market the market conditions we're going into. Can't see silver dropping now, folks. So we're not going to get silver at $20. So what happened? From an Elliott point of view, what happened? Well, there's what happened. Truncated fifth. Now, I know I'm doing a bit of teaching here, guys, so if you know this stuff, move on. If you don't know it, listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But sometimes you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Truncated fifth. Same the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Truncated fifth. That's your bottom. If this is a C wave, that's your bottom. If this was a C wave the other way around, that's your top. And off you go. You get a double top and off you go. That's what I think's happened with silver. Am I going to put more money into silver? No, I'm not. I've already got enough in it. But that's what I think's going on, and that's the start of the move up. Yes, it's pulling back at the minute for some reason. Oh, sorry, we're on the daily. That's probably why it's looking like it's dropping at the minute for some reason, guys. I hope that it drops like a stone, because that means that money's going into the stock market. But I doubt that that's what's happening, guys. Let's keep an eye on it. Obviously, you don't jump into a moving candle. Let's see what sort of structure this creates. It could just go like that. We'll move our alarm over to here. And if the stock market continues to drop, this will come up, that alarm go off, and that would potentially be a place to buy. Bitcoin, I've bought in the Bitcoin again, guys, after a year. I think it was a year ago. It was way over here. It was the last time I bought it. And I was so jittery with it because it had come up so much. I said, guys, this is way overvalued. Yeah, this was this time last year. And each time it dropped, I would buy it, and then I'd panic and I'd get out, and then it would go up and I'd get out. And in the end, I started leaving it alone, and then it did this. Ending diagonal, guys. Impulse, 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 ending diagonal. Yes, it added another one in the end. Maybe that's your ending diagonal. Maybe that's your fourth wave. I don't know. No time to analyze it. There's your ending diagonal. It's going to drop. And it did. Then we got to here. Another potential ending diagonal on the other side of it. And up we come. Little correction. Up we come. I was looking for a double top there, but it broke the top. So then what I did is I drew this in. Remember, we're just looking for structure, guys. We don't know definitely, but we're looking for structure. When I drew that in, anyone that's been listening, what did I draw next? That's why I'm cleaning it up, because I'm going to draw it. And you can go back and look, guys, for anyone who thinks I'm BSing. I drew this parallel. See that line and that line? I drew them in parallel. Now, I don't know if that's what's happening. Let's go out to the daily. But it's possibly what's happening. That's what I'm talking about, guys. It's come up, it's corrected, it's come up again, it's broken the top. What happens next? It pulls back, it moves on again. That's what I drew. Because everyone's saying it's going to 100,000 and it's going to 1,000,000 and it's going wherever. They might be right, they might be wrong. But if you're trying to buy into something, buying there is madness, guys. So what I did was I left it and I left it and I left it. And even when it was here, when it was there, let's go down to the 4 hours. What I said was, guys, I'll not be interested in this unless it comes down to here. And I would have had a circle drawn on that line. What was it? 30,000 or something. What's at the minute? 33,000 at the minute. So in and around this zone here. That's where I'd be interested in it. When it got to here and it stalled, you see that drop and it came back up and then it did this. I was starting to look at this and I thought we could end up with that situation. Then it pushes back up again. So what I did at that point was I copied this. Where's the copy thing? There's a copy there. I copied that, guys. Might even have copied the whole way up. And I stuck it in there. I don't think it was that big, guys. It might have just been the first bit. But anyway, I stuck it in there. And I said, listen, guys, this could go long from here, and put something like that in. As if we're still going up in a diagonal, just as the DXY has been moving. Let's go back to DXY. Like that. Okay. Comes up, drops down again. Breaks the top, drops down again, breaks the top. It's going up in a diagonal. So I said to myself, well, potentially this is going up in a diagonal on a higher time scale, obviously. I didn't buy there, guys. Because I said to you, I'll not buy unless it comes down deeper. But if you guys are interested, potentially you could get involved there. Certainly a lot better than buying up there or up there. So it's dropped again. It's down there. I've bought into it. Am I happy with the fact that I've bought into it there? No, because I'm $80 down on it, guys. But having said that, with a longer view to it, in other words, if it's going to get back to the previous high, and if it's going to break that, as everyone who believes in Bitcoin says it's going to, then when you look back, you think 30,000, that was cheap. Now it could turn out that 20,000 is cheap, and it could turn out at 15,000 is cheap. We don't know. If it does that, I'll buy again and I'll buy again. Remembering, I'm only buying a few $1,000s, guys. I'm not putting 20,000 or anything like that on it. A few $1,000s. I'll buy again and I'll buy again. And whenever it comes back up again, I'll reap the rewards. I will not sell it until it at least breaks that top, guys. And even if it breaks that top, I'll move my stops up. So that's my view of Bitcoin. I have a sneaking suspicion there is more downside to it, but I don't know. That's why I've bought here. Now, you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? Well, there's the big deal there. I bought on Saturday. I was out for a walk, and I looked at all the cryptocurrency, and it all dropped like a stone. I thought, oh, I'm buying this. It had done this on Saturday afternoon, guys. Where was that? 20th. I think it was Thursday, Friday. Saturday afternoon, it dropped down to here. So I bought. And then I did this. I looked at it last night. Well, I think it was last night, guys. Might even have been this morning. It might have been there last night. Yeah, 23 and the 23rd, yeah. And it was up $50 or $60 on it. I thought, oh, that's good. And I thought I'd be putting the stop loss to zero. But then I thought, oh, we're a little bit close. And Bitcoin's a bit volatile. So, buy in here and then be courageous. So it's dropped at the minute. So I'm down $80 on 1,000. I think I bought $1,000 worth, guys. Not a big deal. This could drop and drop and drop and drop and drop, guys. I hope it doesn't, but it could. If it does that, I'll buy again. Okay. Ethereum. Now, I don't haven't bought any Ethereum, but I do mine Ethereum. And a few weeks ago, the payout 0.05 or something Ethereum. It's 0.5% of Ethereum, the payout. Anytime you get the 0.5% the payout. So it kind of gives me a benchmark of what the value of Ethereum is. And a few weeks ago, that was $23. So every time you get 0.005, I think that's what it is, yeah. 0.005, you got $23. Yesterday it was $11, guys. So luckily I've taken it out of Ethereum, so I haven't watched it dropping. I put it into USDC, which is linked to the dollar. And then I started buying in again as they dropped. So it's like $200, $200, $200, $200, buying back in. But I bought, what did I buy? Polygon, Matic, which has also dropped like a stone, guys. But I've dollar averaged the whole way down. So if it hits the bottom, starts coming back up again, I'll make some good money in that. So that's my Ethereum bet. Oil. We're in a little correction here, guys. Given the size of this, if you're going to look at this, potentially we're in a fourth wave, because that's pretty impulsive there, guys. So we're in a fourth wave, which is what I said last week to look for. How deep it's going to come, obviously, I don't know. The reason I'd drawn it that deep was kind of looking at this diagonal way that it's going up, guys. But that particular wave, because that's so impulsive and because it looks like a 1, 2, 3, it could be a fourth wave and we'll get a fifth one up there, guys. And then maybe you get the deeper drawdown there. EuroCAD. Little bit of a reaction there on the euro. Now, anyone that knows me, I don't like trading the euro because for me it's the opposite of the dollar, and I'd rather trade the dollar. But certainly last week I was saying this will drop. There's a pullback at the minute. I would just leave that alone. Because the oil prices continue to go up. The CAD should get stronger, and the euro could get weaker, provided the dollar's going to get stronger, depending on what the Fed say. In other words, this should continue to drop from here, guys, but I'm not going to trade it. I'm not sure enough of that. Euro Oz. Not sure if that's a move. That can't be a move long in the euro, is it? There's a move long in the euro, a move long in the euro, a move long in the euro, a move short in the euro. That's the yen. Move short. That's the Swiss, and then we're out of it again. So I'm a little bit unsure about, because that's a move short in the euro. So the euro's moved long against the Aussie, the New Zealand, which clearly means they're going short. Let's look at the dollar Aussie New Zealand. A little bit. Oh, there's it. Sorry, it's covered. So there's weakness in the Aussie and the New Zealand at the minute, guys. And you also see it in the Euro Aussie New Zealand because it's gone up. So a lot of that move isn't to do with the dollar. It's got to do with the Aussie and the New Zealand weakening. So because of that, until we find out why that's happening, I would leave it alone. If you know why it's happening, then make a decision based on that rather than what I say. But I was looking for these to drop because I'm looking for the euro to drop. Okay. But I wouldn't jump into them short now, guys. Wait and see if they start to drop. Euro yen. Now, here, when we had this, we put these arrows in and said, if we get a correction in this, we'll look to trade it long. I still think that's a possibility, but yet again, it comes back to what's the Fed going to do, how the market's going to react. If the markets react badly and money pours out of the American markets, then you could well see this continue to drop. But I wouldn't be jumping into it short there, guys, because that potentially is the whole of that pullback, and then off you go again. Look at what it's done back over here, guys. Look at what it's been doing. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So you're going to bet against that and try and trade it that way? No. Are you going to jump in there and try and trade it long? No. What you do is you wait and you see. And if the markets look favourable and money starts going back into the stock markets, then the yen will ease off and then you could potentially get that trade up there. Euro Swiss and the same, everything I just said, same for the Swiss. Pound CAD. Well, we were looking for this to break from way back, and it kept pushing up. Eventually, it's gone. I think there's probably more downside to it, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna leave it alone, and I'll leave the alarm out there, guys, because I don't want to come back in a week's time and go, "Hey, I called that." If it's gone long, no, I'm not calling it. I don't know what it's going to do. Pound Oz, I've called it flat, and therefore I'm not going to try and trade it up. Pound New Zealand, same thing, I've called it flat. It has pushed on further up because of the weakness in the New Zealand, but it's not something I see as particularly sustainable, so I'll not be trying to trade it. Pound Swiss, now, look at that. Flat correction, broken out, it's gone long. From there, we would have drawn something like that to say you're looking for a pullback to get in to trade it long. Now, what I drew last week was potentially long from there, but I certainly wouldn't have called it long. I wouldn't have said there's a trade. The reason I know it, I wouldn't have said there's a trade because I didn't trade it myself. But that potentially now could be swung round to here. And let's see what happens there. Am I suggesting you jump in there and trade that up? No. That's why I'm going to take it off again. What I'm saying is keep an eye on it, because if that is a pullback And if the markets don't continue to drop, then that will start to ease, and then you can potentially get that. I'll just put a question mark so we don't come back next week and then I'll say, hey, I told you to trade that. No, I haven't told you to trade it. I'll never tell you to trade something. What I'm saying is, I don't want to come back and say, hey, I said it was going to go long. No, that's why we've got the question mark, guys, because I'm not sure. Pound euro. Listen, it's going up in the diagonal. I would not be surprised if it moved back down to here somewhere. How it gets from there to there, I don't know, guys. I'm not suggesting you trade it, but if it did come into there, I'd be interested in maybe trying to trade it back up again. Pound yen, same as with the pound Swiss. Saying all along, do you remember that? Double top, guys, double top, double top. Be wary of this. Double top. Don't be trying to trade it there. Wait for a correction. That's why we had the alarm like that. There's your correction. Do you jump in here? No. Remember, we're on a 4-hour. Let this settle down, and if it starts to come back up again, then we think about trading it. That'll be your initial target, and then maybe it moves on. But that will only happen if the stock market if the dip gets bought in the stock market. Aussie yen, same thing, guys. Looking for it to go long. Look at the pullback, how deep it is. Potentially good news because you're getting in at that value. You know, if you miss that, well, here the buses come round again. Do you jump into this? No, you wait for something. You wait for it to turn. Wait for it to give you set up. Then you go. There's your initial target. That's your next target. What happens if it does that? Well, you're not in it. You shouldn't be in it. You shouldn't be in it long. That's what I'm saying. So what happens if you were smarter than me and you got into this and you traded it short? Well, put your stop to zero and see where it gets to, guys. But I certainly wouldn't be jumping into it to try and trade it short because I don't know the reason why the Aussie and the New Zealand are shorting at the minute, guys. But if you do know the reason for that, then fantastic, go for it. I'll only tell you what I know, folks. Okay. When we were in around here, do you remember what I kept saying? This is going to go long, this is going to go long, this is going to go long. Why did I draw that? Well, for the same reason we talked about earlier, it's a flat correction. The odds are it'll break the bottom before it goes. There's your opportunity to get into it. Did I wait for that to happen? No, I didn't. I got involved here somewhere on a 1-hour time scale. And I went up and it came down and I went up and I put my stop to zero and it came down and I got out of it and then I missed it. Nonetheless, the what's the word I'm looking for? My high probability trade was that this was going to break out long, which is what it's done. But at the moment, it's coming back down again. And for all the things we talked about earlier, remember this is 4 hours, guys. For all the things we talked about earlier, wait to see where it's going. Wait for it to stop. Wait for it to stall. Wait for an alarm to go off. And if it starts to look like it's going long again, then get into it. Don't jump in there either long or short. Because we don't know where this is going. We don't know where it's going to stop. It could turn around and do that, or it could do that. We don't know. So you wait and you see. Let the excitement go out of the market. And then buy when things have settled and no one else is paying much attention to it. And then bide your time and wait for it to move. I'm still calling it long. Aussie Swiss, massive move down. Looked like it was moving up in a diagonal. That's what we've drawn there. See what I drew there, guys? I said I think it's going long, but it could go up in a diagonal. So am I wrong there? Well, I'm not because I wasn't in it. I didn't buy into it. You're only wrong if you lose money, folks. And you're only an idiot if you buy something and don't put a stop loss in to limit your downside risk. So you shouldn't be losing lots of money on currency trading. So what are we really looking at here? Well, we need to go out a little bit further and get an idea. Now, the whole thing for the last, this, I could put the gold price on this, guys. Wouldn't be exact, but let's do it. Let's go. I will copy it rather than putting it in, because when you put compare in, they never work properly. Let's go and copy gold. Now I might be wrong. Let's go out to the daily time scale. Just the structure we're looking at here, guys. What were we looking at there? It was Aussie, what? Aussie Swiss. Yeah, Aussie Swiss. I'm just looking at this bit. Oops. Let's just squish it in a little bit to get the timing right. Yeah. Right, okay, something like that, guys. Obviously, we've run over there, but I was trying to line this up. Look, Aussie Swiss. Two things here. When the gold price, well, both of these are affected by gold price, basically, guys. Just trying to think this one through, guys. But you can see the correlation there, can't you? On a higher time scale. I'm not saying down at the 1 hour time scale or whatever, but look at the correlation. Gold came away up, Aussie Swiss away up. And then as gold drops, the Aussie Swiss drops. And when gold makes a recovery, the Aussie Swiss makes a recovery. And then when gold drops again, Aussie Swiss drops. And then as it's kind of doing this, underneath there, there's a there's certainly a correlation. I'm not entirely sure what that relationship is, guys. Initially, I thought, well, it's because Australia produces a lot of gold. The problem is that the Swiss is 25% based on gold price. So it also gets stronger as the gold price goes up. But the Aussie should get stronger with the gold price going up as well. But perhaps the equation is more biased towards the Swiss than the Aussie, because obviously there's more to the Aussie economy than just gold. That's an interesting one, guys. I haven't thought about it before. I just saw that structure and I went, that looks amazingly like the gold. Particularly where it dropped and dropped, and then we had the rally, drop and drop and drop. We had the rally, and then off it went. And look, zigzag down, impulsive bit at the end. Then it recovers. Okay, it recovered in a zigzag there, but it recovers. And then a zigzag back down, bump, 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 back down. And then a wee bit of recovery in here. And this gold chart isn't showing that. That's the kind of the only anomaly with it. Okay, guys, interesting. Nothing definitive there, but interesting that this chart seems to have a correlation with the gold price. Okay, so what's next? Well, what I would say with this is, I'm not going to say anything with it because I don't understand the relationship. I suspect the next move's long if the stock market stopped dropping, but not sure. But that's interesting. Okay, Aussie Cad. We drew this a long, long time ago. Look, what's it doing? Exactly the same thing, guys. Up, down, up, down, up, down. What's the next one? Potentially up. But I'm not jumping into it. Let's wait and see. It could go long from here, but I don't know why. We're just looking at the structure. And remember, all structures come to an end at some point, so you don't want to be caught holding the baby, as it were. Swiss yen, looking for it to go long. I've been for a long time. Looking at the overall structure, this is where I was saying when we were up here, I said if it comes down to there, I'll be interested in buying it. But obviously last week I said, well, it could break out here as well. It could just fade like that. See where it faded there, and then off it went. So, but the way for me, the way to trade this is long. You've got to. I'm not in the position where I'd want to jump into it now. CAD Swiss, my old pal, haven't been doing as well with it this year. But if I see an opportunity with it, I'll go for it. You have that impulse, and then you have a bit of an ending diagonal before it goes. So don't be surprised if you get something like that. If we had something like that in 2 or 3 weeks' time, then maybe we'll look to trade it up. CAD yen, doing the same thing. From way back, we're looking for it. Look, I said if it does this, we'll look to trade it up. And this is based on structure, guys, not on fundamentals. So we didn't know why it would do this. But if it did that, then we would be interested in trading it long. So is today the day to jump into that? No. Watch, see what happens. If it starts to come up and gives us a setup and things have settled down with the market, there's potential trade. New Zealand yen. Look at this one. Same thing, guys. The yen strengthening. Let's see what happens in the market. If the market settles itself down, there'll be a trade back up. New Zealand CAD. Same thing we said, but this is similar to the Aussie CAD, except the CAD's been a bit stronger and it's pulled it further down. Would you be surprised if you saw a trade in there? No, I wouldn't, but it's not there yet. And then New Zealand Swiss. Okay, so back here, what did I say? Because it was running flat, I said, guys, this could either run long from here, but don't be buying it from there. If it comes up and gives you a setup, remember that looks exaggerated because I'm drawing it in a 4-hour time scale. We're looking at it in the 1-hour time scale. What I said was, if this comes up and gives you a setup, trade it long. But there is a possibility that it could break down. I don't know why I put that line in there, but it seems to be, that prices come to where that line was. That would be the place to think about buying it, and then up you go. So it's there. Do you jump in? No. Wait for it to start to come up, and then maybe in a week or two we'll go, okay, this looks like the panic's over. We're on our way again. But the panic will have to have been over. The drawdown, the sell-off will have to have stopped for that to come back up, guys. Okay, guys, that's it for this week. Just interesting. There's a lot to think about there. Choose your moments. Pick the times that get involved. Don't jump in and out of everything. Wait for your trap. Set the trap. Wait for it to be triggered. And then do your trading, guys. Okay. Bye for now. Speak to you all again next week.